What can we expect from Pokemon this year? As the years go by, we can start to see a pattern build in Pokemon's release cycles. And today I'm going to look at that and see what this year will bring for us. But not for you guys. Rather, this person right here. You see, he's going through a bit of a hard time. When he goes to sleep, he questions what's the next Pokemon game. When he eats, he thinks of it. When he moves boxes to his new house, he thinks of it. When he goes to work, he thinks of it. And it has been a real problem, if you couldn't tell. So I wanted to help out, and so I volunteered to do just that, by going through all of this year's game's possibilities and pinning them down to what I think will be the final outcome, which is the very least I could do. So let's start off with the big one, remakes. Now, about a year ago, I made a video predicting as to what the next Pokemon remakes will be for as long as Pokemon exists. And the biggest remark I made was that the next remake would not be a Gen 5 one, but rather it would be for Johto. Now, has my opinion actually changed? Well, given all the attention Unova's been getting in the DLC, I can't help but feel at a 180-degree crossroad. On the one hand, the attention can be hinting at a future Unova game, but at the other hand, it could also be just for the older fans, so no one can really complain when they do Johto remakes. And yes, I'm not really considering any other games as candidates for a new remake because Johto and Unova are the latest games to have not gotten one, and even looking at the pattern in a broader sense, remakes have still been based on the last games to have been released. So in any case, the DLC really went overboard with the Unova stuff. First of all, it actually took place in the region itself, and then the characters were very closely tied to it. The locations were also based on Unova itself, which I assume is the Blueberry School's way of bringing the outer region home, so it already sort of felt like a remake at that point. Yet at the end, Gita asked the player character if they're going to leave Paldea, and to me that seems like a pretty obvious way of saying that the next games are going to take place in Unova. Except Pokemon isn't too in opposition with making random clues that go nowhere, so I'm not really sure. I was also really confident in my Johto theory a while back, but given all the evidence, I can't help but feel like my theory will be proven wrong, and in the end we'll end up getting Unova remakes. But there's still a question that lies there. In what form will it actually be presented to us? 2 years ago, did I read that right? Oh, phew. For a moment I thought time passed. So 3 years ago, you're kidding me. Well, 3 years ago apparently we got Legends Arceus revealed to us. And that was it. Definitely just that. I'm recording, now's not a good time. So Pokemon made the first ever open zone game, which had left fans with a very positive impression throughout. While it looked rough around the edges, the concept was promising, and the thought of playing Pokemon completely differently compared to anything we've experienced for Pokemon at that point was exhilarating. And it ended up being a complete hit. Unlike any other game at the time. I can't say that as it would be spreading misinformation, but misinformation is all the rage nowadays. Think of my morals? Okay, true. Okay, fine. I'll acknowledge this game. Can I even call it a game? Okay, jokes aside, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl sold more than Legends Arceus. But given that Legends sold so much as a single game versus Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl as technically 2 games is quite the feat, and I think it hints at some good things to come. Given how popular it was too, I think it's very likely that we'll get some type of Legends game. But for which region? Let's approach this from a creative approach. An approach Game Freak would likely be taking themselves. Close your eyes and imagine that we're in a business meeting. We need to figure out
what would be the next type of remake. What was our goals with Legends Arceus, and were they successful? And what are our goals for the next games? And do we think they'll hopefully be able to achieve those goals that we have?
Well, we can only guess what their goals were and will be. It doesn't hurt to try. The goals of Legends Arceus was to bring a new breath of fresh air to the franchise, something that would really catch fans all over the world off guard, and to try out new playstyles and see if they'd be successful. The intention is to make a leap into the new world for Pokemon and see how our fans react to it. And we did just that. The fans reacted exactly as we hoped for. They were excited to see a new style for Pokemon, and so for our next remakes, should we continue riding on Legends Arceus' success or find a new approach?
Well, if fans like it and want more, we should push off brand new things and simply introduce new things to this formula and expand on it.
But maybe its shiny gleam will have worn off by now, and fans will not find it fun anymore.
And maybe so, but if we don't know if we don't try. I don't know.
Stop it now!
Ugh, boss, sorry.
Pokemon is a franchise that speaks to the hearts of many. Something they can relate to on a personal level. If what they want is Legend Arceus, we give them a brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl style remake. Whoa.
Beautiful speech.
Incredible.
Spectacular, boss.
I'll take my leave then.
Psst, we're doing a Legend Arceus remake then, right?
Yeah, dummy. So sorry, I may have gotten a bit carried away there. But I do think despite the nuances that go into it, they'll most likely make a Legends Arceus type of remake for Unova or Johto. Now, Legends Arceus was sort of like a prequel, and an older Sinnoh called Hisui. So if they go with Johto, then it'd probably be pretty much the same thing as last time, being this older Japanese setting. But if they go with Unova, they could do a lot of new and creative things for it. But I think Legends Arceus may have also been a way to not have to make all the buildings and city-like structures in an open zone / open world game. So maybe they went to make something that wouldn't take as much resources for a game that was meant to serve the remake filler role. I don't know. And Unova that could have a bit more of a gritty atmosphere as New York had, or technically still has. So on that note, a Johto remake would make a lot more sense. And because I don't want to do the predictable thing, and even though I think all the hints in the DLC point at a Unova remake, I am going to say that the next Pokemon remakes will be Johto based, and most likely Legend Celebi or whatever other legendary mythical Pokemon they could use. So, do you finally feel relieved as to what the next Pokemon remake will be?
Yes, I finally feel so stressed as to what spin-offs might release this year. Oh no.
Okay, so let's be extra generous and help him out with that too, I guess. Now that we've gotten Detective Pikachu, we can mark that off the list, and Pokemon Snap is recent enough that I don't think we have to worry about that either. But for the rest, I was pretty undecided on, so I decided to check in with you guys to see what you think. Now, Pokemon Ranger easily seems to be the most popular, which is interesting compared to last year's vote, but I could definitely see why, and given that it's been 14 years? Sorry, 14 years since the last game released. Definitely has been overdue for some type of treatment. Mystery Dungeon has also gotten a game pretty recently, but given its popularity, I wouldn't be surprised with a new one. There are all types of other
side quests, but
let's just throw a random guess because I feel like there hasn't really been a noticeable pattern. So let's say Pokemon Ranger, because why not? And we'll ignore the possibility for a new IP, because that seems like a lot of effort even though that happened during Legends Arceus' release cycle with Pokemon Unite. Okay, now that we've settled that it'll be Pokemon Ranger, because why not? Are you finally calm about this here?
Yeah.
Never been.
What's wrong?
Now that I got weird of my worries for what Pokemon will release this year, I now am worried about the art style it'll have. What do I do?
No worries, I have a video just for that. Just click here. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye. And let's ignore the fact that the art style video doesn't really cover that topic.